Felicity Huffman, Desperate Housewives star charged in the exam cheating scam. Desperate Housewives star Felicity Huffman is among at least 40 people charged in a U.S. college cheating scam, according to unsealed court records. The alleged scheme involved helping students cheat on entrance exams, as well as getting non-athletic students admitted on athletic scholarships. According to the documents, elite schools Yale, Stanford, and Georgetown were among the destination schools. There was no suggestion that the schools were involved in wrongdoing, according to the charging documents. Ms. Huffman was charged with conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. She was secretly recorded discussing the scam with a cooperating witness. The actress Lori Loughlin, best known for starring in U.S. sitcom Full House, was also indicted. The documents set out in detail the various elements of the alleged scam run by a firm called Edge College and Career Network. Parents including Ms. Huffman and Ms. Loughlin paid between $200,000, £153,000, and $6.5 million to Edge for its services, authorities said. The firm reportedly instructed parents to claim their child had a disability which required extra time for exams. The FBI said parents were then told to invent an excuse, such as a family wedding, for their students to sit the entrance exams at specific facilities, where staff had been bribed to turn a blind eye to cheating. Someone working for the firm involved in the scandal either sat the exam for the students, gave them the answers, or corrected their answer papers, the FBI said. In most cases, the students did not know their admission had been paid for with a bribe, officials said. The firm also allegedly created detailed fake athletic profiles for students, including photoshopping the faces of potential students onto pictures of athletes found online, allowing students to be recruited on athletic scholarships. Federal prosecutors in Boston charged William Rixinger, 58, with running the racketeering scheme through Edge College and Career Network. Mr. Singer is expected to plead guilty on Tuesday in Boston federal court to charges including racketeering, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. Andrew Lelling, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts, laid out the scam in a press conference on Tuesday. "We are not talking about donating a building that will make it more likely for your child to get accepted. We are talking about deception and fraud," he said.
We're only talking about deception and fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful and brilliant Alexa Dunetz with us tonight. She's a special contributor to the Lid blog. You can find lidblog.com, and Jeffrey Dunetz stuff you can find on the Voices of Liberty. It's a tremendous opportunity to talk with Alexa. Alexa, you and I share a commonality that not a lot of people know about. We both had IEPs. I was told in public school that I was too rock solid dumb and I had a great inability to speak. Later on, I went to private school. They found out I was a genius and that I couldn't stop talking. So, what was your disability?
I have anxiety. I have ADD. But then again, so does half the freaking country. So not really anything new. But the big difference is I have motor disabilities, which means the signals my brain sends to my hands to do things like picking up a penny or writing or grasping, holding, those signals are not correct, and they make it much more difficult for me to do those accurately. So that means that basically since the second grade, I've had to type. I don't take notes because I can't. I rely on my memory.
Right.
And that's about all I can rely on. And I mean, it means I needed double times on tests. It means I had to learn to speak what essentially amounts to a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn to speak well, not only grammatically, but I had to speak the grammar. If I had needed a comma, the sentence would have to read, "Hi Alexa, comma,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about blah blah blah." Period. That's it. It's not something that you do naturally,
Mm-hmm.
but as a disabled student, you have to learn to adapt, and then you have to learn to adapt again when people won't give you what you're supposed to have because you fought for that to be on your IEP.
Now, Alexa, I'm quite certain that the schools that you attended, because Jeffrey Dunetz is a multi-billionaire, uh, but in all seriousness, I'm quite certain the schools that you attended just willingly went out of their way to provide all the services that you needed and even more upon the ask. Am I correct?
Extra schools for it too. We'll go Lori Loughlin way. I mean, no, nobody wants to spend more money on one child. And you're going to, if you have a kid with a disability, you're going to have to fight for that kid. Up, down, left, and right. I mean, I actually have, this is an old IEP of mine. I'm holding it back because it does have some information, but I'm going to flip you into the third page, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's an entire page. All of that is testing that was done.
Wow.
In under a year. And that's just one page.
Wow.
There's 7 pages like this just to prove that I have what I say I have and I'm articulating what I have. I mean, and that's just in 2009, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just in that period.
Yes.
1 year. Okay, my 5th grade year. Show you.
Wow.
See that?
Yes. Half Hollow.
Okay. Half Hollow. We're one of the top 3 districts on Long Island. We were supposedly the number 1 district for disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And if I tell you that documentation going all the way back, I still couldn't get double time on my SATs.
Wow.
I still couldn't get past time and a half. And I had close to 20 years of records by that point.
Now,
okay.
Yeah,
They didn't give me a laptop the first time. I had to file an appeal.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I want you to discuss this because a lot of people don't understand. My parents eventually got tired of the public school systems and made the sacrifice. And I remember my father laying on the floor for just about 2 hours before he had to go off to his night job, before he went to his morning job. And after he worked around the clock virtually so that we could go to private school where I could get all the attention that I needed. The power of parenting when it comes to having a kid with an IEP, how important was that to you?
I mean, honest, parents are more important than any teacher, tool, whatever. If you have a parent who is willing to fight for you, then you're 9-10 leagues above anyone else just by starting that way. The problem is when people do stupid stuff like what Lori Loughlin did and Felicity Huffman did by artificially creating diseases and learning disabilities, then people who actually need it get this look of, is that true?
Yeah.
And I can actually remember sitting in what it would have been my junior guidance counselor.
Okay. We're having a bit of a technical difficulty there. but I want you all to know that it is a very difficult experience for someone who actually has, uh, and I've been there personally. Not a lot of people are aware that I have been, but to have an IEP, individual education plan, prepared for you because you are slower than the other kids, or you don't reach the same level of achievement as the other children. Um, and often, individuals who have special needs or have need of special attentions doesn't receive it. And that's why Alexa tonight, she is irate. Irate like others who struggled. I remember ability. And while I could easily open a book and just memorize it, just by reading the words, I could memorize the book. He struggled because the words were different the way he was seeing it than the way I was seeing it. And oftentimes, he was called stupid or slow and wasn't going to amount to much. And it wasn't until much later.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem. But it's over $1 million so that their kid, who is completely disinterested with going to school in the first place, but got to do it because it keeps the status quo, it keeps you in with the rest of the groups. You have networking and so on. How did it feel when you heard yesterday that someone was willing to spend $250,000 so that their kid could get in, and they pleaded that their kid was in need of special services?
I mean, to me, the money doesn't matter. If your kid actually needs the services, I don't care if you're going to spend $50 or $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they don't need the help. They did something that actually, as much as it angers me, it more angers me because of the kids that I know who I've tutored who didn't get diagnosed at age 9, 10, that got diagnosed at age 19 almost.
Yeah.
With dyslexia or dysgraphia or any number of issues. But by that point, it's too late because you can't get double time for a child who's 15, 14. You can't get a scribe or service. I mean, and that's who it hurts the most, the kids who legitimately don't have a parent who can afford to take off work 3 days a week to go into the school and fight. That's who it hurts more than anyone. It hurts me because people then look at me and say, is that real? But I've got the documentation to back it up. So in the end, I'm going to get almost what I need all the time. 100%.
Now, I mean, is it wrong for a wealthy person to maybe bend the rules a little bit so that their kid who, you want the kid to go to Andover or Harvard or Yale or Stanford or Georgetown. You want them to go to one of those schools so that they be connected. Is there anything wrong with them?
Depends on what they're spending their money on, to be quite frank. If someone wants to and has the money to, go give $250,000 to Hofstra or to Harvard as a donation, great. Don't fake a disability, because all you've done is make it harder for the person who follows you, who actually needs it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have legitimate disabilities, and I couldn't even get double time on an SAT.
Mm-hmm.
The LSAT that I just took last week, the first time, I had to file an appeal and hire lawyers and get ready for battle before they back down. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I hate to say it, but eventually you get sick of fighting. And that's the biggest problem in all of this.
Exactly. I got tired
of fighting.
I want to stick to that.
Sick of
I want to stick to that
people.
right there. people don't understand what they did with dollars. You don't have that privilege. I didn't have that privilege. And that
Nope.
it's not white privilege, it's not black privilege, it's green privilege. They have the
Yes.
ability to bribe people to get what they want at the cost of someone else. Now, how long did it take you to take your SAT?
How long did it take me, or how long did I have?
How long did you how long did you have?
I had time and a half.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And if I had fought, I probably could have gotten double time. But by that point, I've been fighting since middle school just to get the teachers who are to do this by legal
Mm-hmm.
authority, essentially. I mean, this is the American Disability Act. How long ago was that passed? It should not
Exactly.
be complicated to say to a teacher, you need to provide me a secondary set of notes because I can't write notes. Or to say to a teacher, you need to bring that test to the testing room in an envelope so I can take it.
Now,
And
I
you
wanted
spend half
to
high
go
school fighting for just those things.
exactly. And so for the SAT,
Yeah.
was there number one to correct your answers? Number two,
No.
wasn't anyone there? Was there someone there to turn their head so that you could pull out your calculator or your notes so that you could write down the right answer?
Nope. But
Now,
I mean, I fought and I earned the right to use a calculator. That's something that really
exactly,
doesn't bug.
exactly,
That doesn't bug me though. I feel like if you can get the answer, you should be able to get the answer. However, I don't care. Bring a calculator in. Everyone can bring a calculator to the SAT.
exactly,
The issue is what they got that other people didn't.
exactly. Here's the final question for you, Alexa. Um, did they extend the whole day for you? A whole 12 hours for someone to sit next to you and write the answers in or correct the answers, or did they give you 12 hours to actually take the examination?
No, I think it was 2 hours on the math part,
Mm-hmm.
an hour and 15, I believe, on the English part, and then another hour to do the writing section.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, no, I didn't get special treatment. But the problem isn't necessarily that they got special treatment, it's that they lied to get it.
Yeah.
It's render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, they took from Caesar.
Want to ask you here, is this the incredible example for the millennia in your generation who, when you look at the polls, 45 to 60% of them, one way or the other in the polls, wants to go the socialist route. Is this the example your socialism is, and that it doesn't help everybody?
Sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. It's not completely that, and that it doesn't help everybody. All these were meant to do, and if they had been implemented correctly, all they would have done was essentially create a level starting field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the difference between socialism and capitalism is capitalism wants everyone equal at the start of the race, and socialism wants them all equal at the end.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with that we should all have an equal plane at this,
Exactly.
but half of us don't, and it hurts the minorities
Mm-hmm.
and the people with two working parents harder than anyone because they don't have hours off of work in the middle of the day and come in and do a CSC meeting.
Yeah.
Continuing services education. It's a meeting at the end of the year, basically, that goes over all your service and what they think you need next year. I mean, I showed you earlier my IEP.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
cannot find a page that my mother or my father has not written on to fix something. And it sounds like it's just another, like, let's give the kid extra time, whatever. I'm not looking for the handout.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the help.
Equal opportunity. That's
exactly.
No.
And it's a little bit more than that, though, because what ends up happening is by 2008, when I graduated,
Yeah.
I was done fighting. I got through college, okay,
Mm-hmm.
where I had teachers turn to me and go, well, you're in college now, you don't need your laptop.
Wow.
Okay. I had to leave the school, go to an online school to complete my science requirement, and transfer it back so I could get an associate's degree. Let's just look at that for a minute. I had to spend money that I did not have to go to a different school and transfer backwards. That's not something that should have to be done. Okay. Going back to the LSAT, since the most recent test I took.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to spend $3,000 of my own money to get retested because the tests in 2008, which would have been my last year of high school, were insufficient. Okay.
Wow.
And that's just to take the LSAT. That's not even to get into law school, and nonetheless, all the work I did for that. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. And what these people have done is made it that the LSAT will look up. That kid didn't really need it, does she?
Yeah.
And it creates judgment. It creates significant issues. I have a setback in life. I overcome it, but it doesn't mean that every time I have an interview, when I go on job interviews and I get handed a sheet of paper, that I don't have to explain, I'm sorry, I can't fill that out in a legible manner. This has been from day one a fight, a consistent fight. In fact, there were a lot of times where school became more like legal gymnastics than it did a day of learning, because I had a teacher who wouldn't do what they were supposed to. Or the best is my 9th grade teacher for social studies, who said, your child has a disability, she doesn't belong in my classroom.
Wow.
And you have to realize that my parents weren't the crazy, let's put pressure on them to be in all honors classes. I was really good in social studies exam.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, but
you're
this
brilliant.
Is the thing. School districts don't know what to do with you
mm-hmm.
when you're disabled smart.
Yeah.
And so some of these kids may really have needed that help. And that's what comes out of this story. That's the impact.
I want to ask you in closing here, Alexa, and I am just so pleased. This would not be the last time you're here, because I think you're very brilliant. You're Alexa Dunetz, special contributor to the Lid blog. What should be done to those parents, and then what should be done to the kids, and what should be done to the colleges, because they are not named at all in the lawsuits?
No, but we all know what they are. I mean, it's Harvard, Yale. It's not Hofstra University in Adelphi. Like it's the Ivy League colleges, and it's sad. But essentially, what has to be done is that they have to first change the way parents think.
Mm-hmm.
As a society, from Clinton era on, we've been told everyone should go to college, everyone should own a home.
Yeah.
And I hate to burst your bubbles out there, parents, but there are not kids who 100% should be going to college, and there are kids who are not meant for college.
Yeah.
When we're paying our plumbers as much as we're paying our lawyers, we've got an issue. But that's the societal change that has to occur, because what you see is parents who push their kids
mm-hmm.
to be in the honors, the AP, go be valedictorian, because they don't want the pressure. So the first thing is you need to have conversations with your children.
Mm-hmm.
what are your goals? What would you like to see happen? What do you feel you can reasonably achieve? Okay, and you're going to have kids who say, I want to be in honors classes. I want to be in honors classes and then go into AP.
Yeah.
And there are kids who are going to say, I really don't like school. And then you have to have the conversation with your child. Well, what do you like? And you have a kid who sits there and goes, well, I like building and rebuilding things. Cool. Let's get you into a service industry. Let's get you redoing and fixing washing machines or plumbing, or let's put you into something that you feel good at. But once we started doing this, everyone goes to college thing. God knows why that started, but I guess when you're more busy with your interns than with your policies, that's what happens.
Far exceeds even mortgage debt today.
Yeah.
Listen, Alexa, we love you. We thank God for you. You and I share a great deal in terms of our beginnings. We also share a great deal in terms of our endings. We only needed an equal opportunity. We could handle the rest. And you have.
Exactly.
God bless you, and I will be talking with you real soon.
Amen. Talk to you soon.
All right. Alexa Dunetz with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And she is just one of the most special people I've ever run into. Her heart is of gold, and her mind is like a steel vault. She's a brilliant woman, and I love working with her. Alexa contributed to the lidblog, lidblog.com. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after this.